conspiracy theories that turned out to be not just true, but precisely true. Here's another. Peter Daszak was one of several virologists who received U.S. taxpayer dollars from Tony Fauci and the NIH to conduct dangerous, in fact, reckless experiments at the Wuhan Institute of Virology in China. Daszak has repeatedly claimed that no bats were kept in that lab. In December, for example, he said, and we're quoting, "No bats were sent to Wuhan lab. We collected bat samples, sent them to the lab. We release bats where we catch them!" Exclamation point. Is that true? Well, thanks to new footage from Sky News Australia, we know it's a lie.
It is not a conspiracy to say there were live bats at the lab. It is a fact. And as you can see, this video shows bats in a cage at the Wuhan Institute. You can also see there a researcher feeding a bat with a worm. And in this image, we can see researchers out capturing bats, and a bat even hangs off a researcher's hat. In another image, there are mouse cages, hundreds of them. We know that the Wuhan Institute of Virology was using humanized mice for experiments to see which coronaviruses could infect humans.
Yeah, a bat hanging off his hat. Okay, yeah, no bats. The footage also shows that officials in the Wuhan lab were very aware that something could go badly wrong.
中央监控室，我们中央监控室的工作人员时刻跟实验室的人员保持着及时的通信联络，对他们的试验情况以及意外提供必要的技术支持。
Sherry Markson is with Sky News Australia. She's the author of the upcoming book, What Really Happened in Wuhan, which we will be buying. She joins us tonight. Sherry Markson, thanks so much for coming on. First to this amazing tape, where did this footage come from?
This was an official Chinese Academy of Sciences video. It was produced for the launch of the Wuhan Level 4 laboratory back in May 2017. And it's this underground team of detectives, they call themselves Drastic, who've been investigating the origin of the virus that managed to unearth this video after all of this time. And as you say, it shows that much of what we've been told about the origin of the pandemic from the very beginning was Chinese disinformation, which was then propagated by many people who had been working in conjunction with the Wuhan Institute of Virology, who were compromised, who had extreme conflicts of interest.
Yes.
And they, as you just showed, people like Peter Daszak insisted that it was a conspiracy theory. He used the term in a tweet from December 2020 that it was a conspiracy theory to say that there were bats in the lab. You know, here's an official WHO, World Health Organization investigator who went into Wuhan to supposedly investigate the origins of the virus early this year. And it was completely false. This new footage shows that there were bats being kept in the Wuhan Institute of Virology, and it's something Peter Daszak has had to admit, has had to correct just this month.
What's amazing is that, so Peter Daszak had financial conflicts of interest on this topic. I mean, he was involved in this. This bat video, many must have seen it before. Why has it taken this long, more than a year, for the rest of us to learn these basic facts?
I mean, there's so much that he didn't, and the WHO team didn't ask when they went into Wuhan. They didn't ask if there were bats at the laboratory. They didn't ask where the virus database was. This is such a crucial thing. The virus database, with some 15,000 or 17,000 bat samples, suddenly disappeared from the internet in September 2019, just prior to the outbreak of COVID-19. The WHO team didn't even ask what happened to that virus database. You know, the people like Peter Daszak who went in to supposedly investigate this were riddled with conflicts. Anthony Fauci, as well, should not be advising the president on the origin of coronavirus, given it was his organization that funneled money through a sub-grant through to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And, you know, he can issue all the denials that he likes. The scientific papers say that they were funded with NIH. Gain-of-function work, genetically manipulating coronaviruses in Wuhan, was funded by the NIH.
And to this day, Tony Fauci's never been indicted. He's not sitting in solitary like people who trespassed on January 11th. Sherry, I really appreciate your work on this. Very much looking forward to your book and grateful that you came on tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tucker.
So, as just noted, virtually everything we were told during the pandemic about where the virus came from and how we should respond to it turned out to be false. One of the biggest lies came early on when virtually everyone in the media pretended that Andrew Cuomo wasn't causing thousands of deaths in nursing homes.
Governor Cuomo out there day after day after day, everything Trump isn't, honest, direct, brave.
Even lifelong Republicans tell me, they look at Cuomo and they're like, God, there's a leader.
For those of you who've been wondering why New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has been garnering the nickname America's Governor, I think you saw it right there. He is conveying incredible strength in the face of this pandemic.
Maybe Trump is just a little bit mad that Governor Cuomo has become a kind of acting president.
I hope you are able to appreciate what you did in your state and what it means for the rest of the country now, and what it will always mean to those who love and care about you the most.
We could spend an hour every night from here till all of us qualify for Social Security just cataloging the lies. There are that many of them. We're not going to try. David Marcus has tried, though, and done a great job at it. He's the author of Charade, The COVID Lies That Crushed a Nation, nicely put, and we're happy to have him on tonight. David, thanks so much for coming on. I mean, this is a book-length discussion, but what are the biggest ones, the most significant lies, do you think?
I mean, Cuomo is certainly one of them. It's sickening to watch all of that, knowing the lives that he cost and knowing what he did to, the city that I love, along with Bill de Blasio. But the lies are myriad. I mean, right from the beginning, it's a lie that the Trump administration wasn't doing anything in January. They were already beginning work on a vaccine, on testing, on PPE, much of this before China had reported a single death. The infection fatality rate was a lie. We knew in early April from Dr. Jay Bhattacharya that it was vastly lower than what the World Health Organization was telling us with their sort of Chinese-sponsored fear-mongering. So much of the masking debate was a lie where good, solid information was simply being suppressed and not being told to the American people. It was obviously a lie that you can't catch COVID at a BLM rally, and going to a BLM rally with 10,000 people is fine, but you can't have an outdoor church service. I mean, all of these were lies. Quite frankly, I could have saved myself a lot of work by writing a book about the true things that we heard about the coronavirus and the lockdowns, because, my friend, that would be a very, very short book.
I mean, you spent many months collecting all of this, thinking it through, organizing it. What effect did it have on you? I mean, your views of the people who run the country, what are they now, having sifted through all of this information?
I mean, it was shocking. It was really shocking to be covering the story and writing the book at the same time, and seeing people in October and November pretending like they had never said things that they had blatantly said in March and April. I mean, there's myriad examples of that in the book. It was all over the place. And really, the big tech lies, one of the reasons I wanted to write this book and I wanted it in print, even though that's 15th century technology, is that Mark Zuckerberg can't sneak into your house and go to your bookshelf and change the words of my book, at least not yet. And I'm very worried that 5 or 10 years from now, when people like my 11-year-old son go online to find out what really happened, they're still going to be fed those lies. I hope that's paranoid. I don't think it is.
It's not paranoid at all. Just today, someone sent me a story having to do with unintended consequences of vaccines. It's a true story. I found out conclusively. No mention of it on Google, none. So I don't think you're paranoid, unfortunately. David Marcus, congratulations on the book. It's a real service. Thanks.
Thank you, Tucker.
So on January 6th, that was the day that will live in infamy like Pearl Harbor and 9/11. Actually, only one person was shot to death that day. That person was an unarmed Air Force veteran called Ashley Babbitt.